Good morning and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Kolvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. On with Kyle Thomas, certified financial planner on the investment team as well. Kim, we're going to talk about college planning and family planning and all kinds of planning. And it seems like we talk of planning every week, don't we?
We do. And that's a lot of your job. There's no two ways about that. But planning is a good thing. And when it comes to college, it's certainly a good thing. We know this time of year, a lot of people are getting ready to send maybe their freshmen off this fall, and they're getting all their finances together. We hope that you started to do your planning just a bit before now. But it's just always important. If you're planning to send kids off to college, whether it's you or your grandkids or who it may be, to start to think about that early and to make a plan, especially in these times when college has gotten so expensive. So we'll talk a little bit about college planning, and then we'll talk about rules and strategy for 529. We're going to talk about universal life insurance for college and other expenses. There are other means by which you can put together dollars for education. And then finally, we'll talk about wealth stability and family finances. And, Larry, planning for college can certainly affect a full family's finances.
Oh, it definitely can. We just had two our identical twins graduate from two different colleges. We have one in med school in North Carolina and then one at the University of Kansas. So we know a little bit about college and money and the financial aspect of it. And I sure hope you're planning as much as you can in advance because it gets here fast. And you're right, college costs are astronomical. I just know that I did my 4-year at Bethel College, and what it was when I went compared to what it is now, let's just say those numbers are considerably different.
Yes, yes, they are. So when do you think, gentlemen, is the best time to start thinking about your children's college educations?
Well, nowadays it seems to be as soon as they're born, it should be a thinking and consideration of how do we best prepare our child for college or grandchild, however the situation is. Because if you save up for 18 years and invest those savings, it can have a huge impact on the costs for the tuition and room and board and all of that. In a lot of cases, it still might not cover the full thing. So the prices of college have gone up quite a bit. I have a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old. We already started saving for their college as soon as each of them were born. We just know that tuition's probably going to keep going up. It's just hopefully it doesn't go up as much as it has in recent history here.
Absolutely. I know that we're going to talk about 529 in our next segment, but talk a little bit about when you have people who come in and they say, we're thinking about college costs and we feel very overwhelmed and we're not exactly sure how to even get started or what to do with this money. Where do you guys guide them?
Well, 529 is one area that you can direct money into, and that can help for college. Without going into it too much, because we have for next segment, I like that concept if it's for a longer duration. So if it's a younger child, they were just born, or let's say under the age of like 7 or 8, I think that's a good tool because you want time for those assets to build. If it's beyond that, there's custodial accounts that you can go into and all that, but it's a good thing to save what you can. I mean, you have to take care of yourself first and your situation. But if there's extra stuff that you can save to help, minimize the impact of college tuition, it's super important because that student debt can really eat away and put you in bad situation once you leave college. I was looking at pre-COVID data, 7% of people repaying their student debt defaulted within 3 years. Mm-hmm. That's a huge percentage, and that's a huge problem that we have in this country with student debt. And looking at the student debt currently, it was about $1.74 trillion across 45 million borrowers. So that's a huge impact and something that we need to try and minimize.
Absolutely. Um, so one of the things I know that you must advise your clients is that they cannot eat at their own personal retirement to get their kids to college or to pay the kids' student debt. That's got to be something you say on a regular basis.
It is because, unfortunately, Kim, we've seen kids that are enabled, and the parents take more care of the kids than they take care of themselves, planning for retirement, which can be very problematic. So be careful. I mean, granted, if you can put money away, great. Even a little bit over 18 years or 20 years can go a long ways. But you also got to weigh, not everybody's going to go to college. We're big into education, don't get me wrong, but I know trade schools have great opportunities, and I see some great success with kids that have gone through trade schools, and they can actually get a job, and they don't build up all this student debt that some kids dig such a big hole they can't even get out of the hole. So again, let's face it, the purchasing power of the dollar today for today's kids isn't what it was back in the olden days, if you will. So yeah, we're having these conversations, and my wife and I, we had a difference of opinion. Imagine that in a marriage, Kim. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
I've never heard of that, Larry.
Yeah, well, when I went to college, my parents made us have skin in the game. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's bad to have skin in the game, because then they feel like, they're attached to it and there's a cost to it and they're paying for some of it. Granted, if you can bless your kids or grandkids, I see this more often than not, especially with folks that we sit down with, where their grandparents, and they're more concerned about their grandkids than necessarily their kids. And that can be an effective way of putting money for the grandkids. And We'll talk about different ways you can do that, but there's a variety of different ways you can accomplish this, but it's having the conversations once again, discussing what those options are, making sure your life isn't adversely affected or your budget, taking care of you first, and then working it into the budget to see if it's even a possibility to be doing it.
Sure. Yeah, I think that it's really important for people to understand that saving money for college is great, but there has to be some strategy behind it, because the dollars have just gotten so out of control. They're just so crazy at this point.
Most definitely. Again, the value is still there in an education, and the higher salaries and the higher potential. But again, some people, come out with so much debt, and then they can't even get a job. Or maybe, unfortunately, they switched degrees halfway through, and now they even got more student debt. Right. Again, we're very cognitive of debt and what that can do, even for young people, especially for retirees. And you just have to tread that water very, very lightly to make sure that you're doing what's appropriate and reasonable given your circumstances, and you're not overstepping your boundaries. That can cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, it sure can. So if you're looking for some advice on how to begin the process of saving for your child's college education, or maybe saving for a grandchild's college education, give the folks at Haven Financial Group a call. They can talk you through some of these other strategies that we're going to talk about during the course of this show. But they can also just hear out what your plans are and how that can maybe plan into your portfolio, how much of your portfolio maybe you can give up to a student. The number is 612-504-8400. Let me give you that again. It's 612-504-8400. Call the folks at Haven Financial Group. Tell them you heard us here on the radio talking about saving for college education, and that you are looking for a partner to help with your strategies when it comes to saving. HavenFinancialGroup.com. You can also check them out there. When we come back, we are going to talk about the rules and the strategies behind 429s. You heard Kyle say just a moment ago, he believes, if you are just starting a family and you're thinking about starting to save money for college, this is a great way to do it when you have time on your side. And we'll talk more about that on the other side of this break. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.